Hello and welcome back to PTE Tutorials. Today we'll be going over the multiple choice single option questions for the listening section of the Pearson Test of English Academic. We will be giving you an introduction to the kinds of question. We will give you a sample instruction, some tips to succeed, as well as an example question at the end. Effectively, what this is you will listen to a speaker. You will then have a question that you will have to answer. Multiple answers will be given to you, however, only one of them is correct, and you will only be able to pick one of them. The actual instruction that will be on the test is listen to the recording and answer the multiple choice question by selecting the correct response. Only one response is correct. Some general tips are that you should read the question before the recording starts. This will give you an idea of what to look for or what to listen for when the speaker speaks. Skim the responses to have a general idea of what you're going to be looking at. You should be taking notes, concentrating on the main ideas as well as the keywords. Focus on anything that the person has stressed or changed his or her tone, as well as any repeated phrases or keywords. After you've completed listening to the speaker, what you should do is read the question again, as well as reading again the answers. Once you've done this, select the correct option. Also, for these kinds of questions, there will be no negative scoring, so it is in your best interest to just guess if you don't know. Now let's go over a sample question. What we are going to be doing is looking for the correct answer that is true from the speaker. Briefly looking over the answers, we have the large difference between tortoises and turtles is that tortoises dwell on land and turtles live in water. From this, we are looking for both the correct grammatical sentence as well as the correct statement. So, shall we listen? Tortoises and turtles are both reptiles from the order of Testudines, but in different classification families. The major difference between the two is that tortoises dwell on land, while turtles live in the water some or nearly all of the time. The bodies of tortoises and turtles are both shielded by a shell, the upper part of which is called carapace, and the lower portion called a plastron. The carapace and the plastron are attached by a bridge, which means that though the head and the limbs of a turtle or tortoise may be withdrawn from the shell, the whole body can never be totally detached from it. These reptiles are generally reclusive and shy in nature. So, we should have been able to read beforehand the different answers. So we know that more larger is not a correct grammatical structure. So, from the listening, we know that. So after reading the listening, we're now going to look at the different options. We know that more larger is already not a grammatically correct construction, so we can rule out part A. Part B says the largest difference between tortoise and turtles is tortoise are land-dwelling animals and turtles are water animal. In this answer, there's a lot of number issues in terms of plural and singular, and then also the conjugation of to be. So that is not correct either, although the sentiment is correct. Part C, the biggest difference between tortoises and turtles are that tortoises dwell on land and turtles live in water. That one's probably the most correct one we've seen so far, so we'll keep a mental note that part C is probably the correct answer. But let's continue just to make sure. The biggest difference between tortoises and turtles is that tortoises are land-dwelling animals and turtles live in water. This one is even more grammatically correct because turtles and tortoises are. The biggest difference is a singular one, and are refers to a plural. So, part D is actually more correct. So this one is a better answer so far. This is a very subtle difference. So you should keep in mind that they may have very, very difficult things like that for you to point out. Part E, just to double check, the primary differences between tortoises and turtles is that tortoises dwell on land and turtles dwell on water. Well, there's also a number issue here. Differences and is, this is a plural subject and this is a singular verb conjugation. So this is not correct. Tortoises and turtles can come out of their shells. As we learned, that is not true. So the answer ultimately is part D, because it's the most correct in terms of facts as well as grammar. Thank you for listening and watching. We appreciate your time here at PTE Tutorials, and we look forward to seeing you in the next lecture. Have a good day.